All right, welcome back. We're answering questions, or actually a question that we were asked a while back about supervision, and I've been going through my career, my 35 years, and giving you the good, bad, and the ugly, and the weird about supervisors, both who I work for, and now I am one. So I'm telling you about what I had to do and some of the stuff I encountered. Some of it's pretty funny, some of it's just routine. If you want to send me a question, email me at rsbcopstories@gmail.com. And if you have a few extra minutes, go to my realcopstoriesvideos.com, and we got 355 cop stories. Slam up, shoot 'em up, vice, and all that good stuff. So enjoy them all. Okay, now I'm working an assignment inside. I got 7 partners and my supervisor, and we got it's an information network. We're inside. We're all medium step supervisors, and I came from a unit that had a kind of an incompetent lieutenant. He was pushy. He got involved when he shouldn't have been. He caused my top step to leave one day on an investigation because he got tired of this lieutenant trying to run it. Now I got this new unit with a new lieutenant, and this guy was the complete opposite. Motivator, mature, nice, and trusted his supervisor, which is our top step, to do his job. Didn't interfere with anything. But I hardly ever saw him because he, again, you delegate things, and he's delegating the top step, and the top step has us do stuff. So it's all in the chain of command. It's like the military or any office that you work in, where you have supervisors and supervision and executives. Everybody has their niche to do, so to speak. And so, very good. He would come on and give us, because he knew all of us. Well, there was 7 of us. 3 of us didn't do anything. They showed up. I learned from my top step what kind of not to do. He had these 3 guys that were pretty much drones. Look up drone in the dictionary. They benefit from the work of others pretty much, and didn't do very much. And the 4 of us who were left over, we were out there hooking and booking and hooking up, making cases, helping other units, coming in at midnight, coming in at 2 in the morning, doing our supervisory functions. If I had been my top step, I'd have taken the 3 guys aside and said, look, you need to kick it in second gear here or you're going to leave. But he didn't want to do that. He was a really nice guy. So I thought that was kind of a weak supervisory mode on him, even though we were buddies. Thought he should have been more aggressive, should have been more motivator, try other things to get them going, because they felt they each had about 19, 20 years on, so they felt they're just gonna skate. And they did as the time we were there. I was there a couple of years. I didn't like that, because you don't, as a supervisor, you don't want to have favorites. I told you that before. You don't want to have, say, 7 people, 4 are working, 3 aren't. A lot of things happen there. You get the 4 that are working are going to start not working, because why should I? And the 3 are continue not doing anything. Nobody's telling them to do anything. So it brings down a unit. I think it brings the unit down instead of raising it up. I think if you motivate the 3 and comes up, then everybody's doing their job, but it brings people down. You shouldn't do that. And later on, I made sure that was not going to happen under my watch when I became top step. So that was the only weakness I saw in this guy. So now we're off and running. And the 4 of us would get calls. We'd go out in the middle of the night. I already covered this before, and help other divisions and units that needed some complex follow-up and complex expertise from narcotic detectives. And we were supervisors, so kind of got to these places, took over. The supervisors were very appreciative of that, because that way they don't want to commit. If they make a mistake, they don't want to make mistakes. Nobody wants to make mistakes when it comes to enforcing the laws. You want to make sure it's correct and proper. So we did all that. That was good. Okay. So now we have a really bad thing happen here. Okay. I was going out for a 3-day weekend. It was Thursday. Never forget this. And I see my boss going out the door at the end of the shift. And I said, hey, I'll see you on Monday. Yeah, I'll see you on Monday, because it's Thursday. I'm going to be off Friday. And Friday I'm playing a fundraising tournament. A bunch of policemen out there. And I'm playing tournament. So we had city phones. And I get a call right in the middle of the tournament. It's about 11 o'clock. Very rare, because everybody knows I'm off. Well, it's one of my guys, one of the 4. And I go, what's going on? I thought we had a call up. Usually when they call like that when you're off, it's there's like a major riot or a flood, or where everybody rolls. Like 9/11, everybody rolled. Okay. He goes, we can't find the boss. I said, what do you mean you can't find the boss? He goes, we can't find him. Wait, you lost me here. He's supposed to be in a doctor's appointment this morning with his wife. His wife was working. She left her work to go to the doctor's office. He wasn't there. They called the house. They called his cell phone. He wasn't around. He's supposed to be there. He's off today. Okay. The wife can't figure that out, so she goes to the house, and his city car is gone. The car we used to, the take-home cars that we have. Okay. So we don't know where he is, and she doesn't know where he is. So me being Mr. Salty, I have like 22 years on, 23 years, and I go, well, there really are only 2 reasons why someone and our guys, men, could not be found. He's either got a girlfriend and he's in some hotel somewhere, or he's going to hurt himself and commit suicide. I sound cold, but that's only the reason I can think of somebody not being available. Why else? What other reason would there be? He's supposed to be. And he goes, well, that's cold. I said, well, I'm just telling you. I said, well, I'll come in. He goes, well, you don't have to come in. We got everybody out there trying to find him. Call me in a couple hours and you get done. And if we need your help, we'll come in. We got everybody rolling because all the other guys are still working. I was the only guy that was off that day. So the other 6 guys are working. Of course, they called our command, and I found this out later. They set up a command post near the house up in the mountains. He lived at the base of the mountains, San Gabriel Mountains. He set up a command post because now it's a missing officer. They're worried about maybe because he did work narcotics, so maybe it might be foul play here. Maybe somebody kidnapped him. All kinds of stuff is going through the mind. So our command's up there. Helicopters are up looking for the car. It's a very distinct car. It was a Lumina, which is a kind of a ugly-looking 2-door big beast we used to call him. So easy to spot. I flew in there a lot. You could spot them if you're looking for them. They're big cars. So I didn't know all this. So I finished now I couldn't play golf. I'm thinking about my boss. He's my old partner and everything else. So a couple hours go by. I call. They go, we found him. I said, okay. Well, where was he? And again, we're cops here. Okay, so we're no softball or anything. He goes, he's dead. I go, what happened? He goes, he killed himself. Whoa, interesting. Okay, so here's what happened. And if you look at realcopstoriesvideos.com, it's in there, but I thought I'd include it in this movie because there's a lot of supervisory things going on here. Out of the area we're at, there's a lot of roads that go up into the mountains. Okay, so the helicopter's flying all over looking. They're going to spots that his wife told them that he usually hangs out at. There's a park, there's a bar he goes to, a restaurant, food bar that he hangs out at. So they're flying around, and they said he liked the mountains. So they went up they were going up those roads, the helicopter, and broadcasting to the ground unit said, I'm checking this road, that's done. I'm checking this road, checking all the possibilities. Kind of like a grid search, they eliminate and one of the roads, they spotted the car. And one of our guys that I work with was near there. So they told him, somebody come up here, I got the car. So this guy, we're all work one-person cars. So one of my partners drives up there, and he's the first one there. Sees the car, tells me this later, sees the car on a turnout, and they had this maybe 4-foot-high ground berm because they didn't have any railings, and they had that berm around. So you couldn't drive a car off necessarily. But the car was parked on the one side of the berm, and the other side of the berm was the cliffs going down. So he gets out, and he's yelling the guy's name. Oh, where are you? Oh, trying because boom. Okay, round goes off. Oh, he runs around He said he thought maybe somebody was holding him hostage. We're always thinking cops. That there's a crime here. That somebody's being held captive. Maybe somebody's holding him hostage. Who knows? He said he ran around and there's his boss with a bullet out the back of his head. He put the gun in his mouth and blew his brains out. Okay, so he's waiting for the helicopter because the helicopter's been up there the whole time. He's waving the helicopter. He's got him in his arms. Helicopter comes down, they jump out, the co-pilot jumps out, runs over, he goes like this, they go back up, they call the ambulance. Can you imagine helicopters landing on the road? Because they had to get up to get out with the radios. They weren't working, they're in the canyons. Gets up and comes back down, they shut off the helicopter, they come running over, and my buddy says, but I think he was already dead by the time the helicopter landed the first time. He got the back of his head blown off, and there's nothing there. So he held him in his arms. So everybody goes, I found this out, all this stuff afterwards. Very sad, extremely sad. Okay, so everybody gets there. I'm talking everybody gets there. They closed the road. There must have been 50 cops there. Command, the local department, highway patrol, everybody's there. Okay, coroner gets there. We're all standing around. I drive out there eventually, and I was there towards the end. Just here, I find all these stories. What happened? Whew, tough situation. Okay, now you'd think that just a funeral would be a very quiet and mundane thing, and I hope I don't get too far in this story because I had a lot to cover here. I'm sorry about that. I might not finish, but anyway, they had the funeral. His girlfriend shows up. Wife and kids are crying. Her girlfriend shows up. She's over there crying. My guys had to escort her out of there, get her away. Nobody who knew. Okay, turns out he killed himself because he had AIDS. Okay, so that was the reason why. We all couldn't figure out why. The guy that found him didn't go to the funeral. And we're all supervisors, and some of the guys were mad. Where's he go? What's wrong with him? So let's just wait. As my supervisor coming out, let's just wait and see what happened. So a couple days went by, and that guy came back to the office, and now we've been cleaning this guy's stuff out. And he says, I need to talk to you guys. So he takes us all into a conference room. This guy that didn't show up, that found our boss. there's rumors going around, and I didn't go because Joe and I didn't get along. And he says, I want you to know that when I was 9 years old, I came home from school and couldn't find my mom, and I went out to the backyard, and she was hanging from a tree. I had to call the neighbors. I got a knife, and I cut the rope off, and I held my mom in my arms. And we're like, and the other three guys that were bad-mouthed, I'm looking at them going, you know, wait till you feel the facts, get the facts here before you start making a conclusion that he doesn't like somebody. That was sad, very sad. Then I get a call from his brother-in-law, who was a cop, that gave part of the eulogy. I gave the eulogy, one of the eulogies, demanding that I talk to him and his family because he wanted to know why my boss got this disease and what I was doing with him and what I was hanging out at, where I was going. What? I said, no, I don't want to talk about it. Yeah, I'm going to order you to talk about it. I go, you're going to order me. You're from another department. I'm a supervisor. You're a supervisor. You ain't ordering nothing. What's your boss's name? I'll give his extension. I gave him the captain's name. Okay, fine. We'll see about that. Hangs up. So I literally ran down the hall to get to the captain, knock on the door. They let me in. I tell him what happened. He goes, if you order me to go, I'll go. But this is a family matter. I don't need to go. I don't know nothing about what this guy did on his off hours. I don't know how he caught these diseases. I can't contribute anything. I don't want to go. Because I can't order you to go. That's a private thing. Don't go. Thank you. You're going to get a phone call. Okay, fine. So I leave. I'm back in my office about 15, 20 minutes. Here comes the captain. Dun, 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 dun. Got this weird look on his face. I go, oh, you got the call? He goes, I got the call. He says, he was yelling at me and everything else. I said, he's yelling at you? He says, yeah, you're going to call my boss. So I gave him the chief's number downtown. Go ahead and call him. You know, now all these captains, supervisors, everybody's yelling at each other. Why is it he was, turns out the brother-in-law was upset because he was afraid his sister got the AIDS virus. Okay, he was upset, obviously. Well, why are you upset at me? The guy that gave it to her is dead. So once he's dead, unfortunately, that ends the situation. You can't go any further there. I didn't touch her. Nobody, turns out she didn't get it. It's really weird. It happens a lot. I think Magic Johnson, his wife didn't have it. So it's weird how some people get it, some people don't. So anyway, so that was a supervisory function. I helped gather his stuff and one of his grown children came in. He had a teenage son. I think he was like 17, 18. Came in to pick up his dad's stuff out of his office. We had a bunch of material, and one of my guys, the guy that I told the story with earlier, he opened the drawer up and he had some medicine in there, and he goes, yeah, that's AIDS medicine. I went, not that I was going to get infected, but he kind of like, well, we're figuring this out that he had a problem. He didn't want to face it. That doctor's appointment was supposed to be to tell him he had it. He didn't tell his wife, so I couldn't handle it. And some people handle things different ways. I don't think that's the right way. You're leaving a lot of collateral damage when you do that. Your family, your friends, partners, cops. It really solves nothing. It solves you. You don't have to deal with it. But I think a true person, whether gay or straight, whatever, you got a problem like that, you need to confront it head on. You need to tell your family. They'll support you. You need to tell your friends and just deal with it and move and go forward. Don't leave people in your wake, your son, your wife. It's sad. I mean, I teared up a little bit because he was a good guy, but he let it get to him. It's too bad. So anyway, that's my story and a lot of supervisory going on. And one more thing before I finish. I'm sorry. I hope I have time. Do I have time? I hope I do. We're getting his stuff to his son, and his son says, "Thank you for telling me about that. It reminded me. I want to have his gun." Whoa, what? And we're all standing there going, I want to have his gun. How do I get his gun? And one of my buddies goes, you mean the gun that he used on himself? Yeah. You're going to have to call the coroner. He keeps all that information, or that stuff. Oh, well, why would you want to have the gun? I said, well, I might be a police officer. I don't know. And, but we'd like to have it. It's his. And, whew. Okay, well, here's the coroner's address and phone number, and they'll have his property there. Because the coroner takes everything. It's not a crime. It's a suicide. So anyway, that was one of the weirdest things I ever heard. A, why would you want to have it? B, if you're a police officer, why would you want to carry the gun that your dad used to kill himself? That's different from wearing your dad's badge. That happened the other day at the sheriff's department. His dad was killed on the line of duty. His son is in the academy. He wears his dad's badge. That's a whole different thing. That's so neat. I wouldn't want to get near that gun. I'd make that gun into a cylinder head for a 2019 Buick. I mean, that's not good. That was weird. I'm glad you reminded me about that. That was That was one of the weird things. But anyway, so I'm done with this one. I'll get back to you in a little bit. Okay? Bye-bye.